Hey, and we're live. How's everybody doing there? Sean, Michelle, what's going on with you?
Hello, guys. I'm great. Welcome back, everyone. This is Michelle Diamond, your host of In the House Media House Call. And of course, we have the main man, the CEO behind the scenes coming up front just to talk a little bit of all that we have going on. The infamous, I should say, Dr. Jerome Dorn, and the amazing and valiant Sean
Hey,
Swarner.
hey, how's
Tell you, if you guys don't know Sean, you better Google him. I'm going to give you all the details anyway. Amazing stories. And we're just going to let Dr. Dorn catch you guys up to speed about all that we have going on. And then we're going to delve right into everything dealing with Mr. Swarner and his inspirational story of courage and strength. So, Dr. Dorn, let us
okay?
know everything that's
Okay.
going on with you. Can you hear me,
Well, not
Dr. Dorn?
everything. Well, how's everybody doing out there? Look, we got a lot of things coming up starting June, July, and August out at the Lake Pavilion. Uh, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're good.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Can you hear me? Well,
Yes, you're
anyway,
good.
I think I'm going to assume that you can hear me. Yeah, a lot going on out at the Lake Pavilion. And yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
You want me to do
Out
it?
at the Lake Pavilion, August 14th, 15th. Huh?
No, I think
Wait,
you're tripping up,
can
but
you
I
hear
got
me?
you. I got
We
you.
got
So
that.
out at the Lake Pavilion, Dr. Dorn and his business partners, which is the Lake Pavilion himself and Mr. Aaron Burks and a few others, Timeless Events, Philly to ATL, they have merged together and they have, several events going on. Right up on, August 14th through 15th. They also have the Wind Down Wednesdays. So if that's
No,
something that
wind down Sunday.
Wind
Unwind
Down
Sunday.
Sundays. Wind Down
Unwind.
Sundays. I'm sorry. Okay. Wind Down Sundays. I apologize. I know we had something on a Wednesday. And of course, they have, Chub Rock that's going to be out of the building for one of the events. Also, Mr. Cheeks and, the infamous Mr. DJ Unique from the Lost Boys, which he's tied to Mr. Cheeks. And we will be interviewing him in the next segment as well. So stay tuned. So much in store. And of course, the updates for the Philly weekend in Atlanta. And Mr. Dorn has his hands in many things. We'll keep you apprised on that as well in regards to the community involvement that we're doing and the community outreach with Impact Jamaica and Infinity Love. We're going to be joining them on a panel just to discuss how much it takes to actually give back to the community and to uplift these children. And this is why it's so relevant today for me to invite Mr. Sean Swarner on because of his amazing story and his valiance and just how much hope and inspiration that he is spreading. And of course, this segment is brought to you by our partner in crime, the Lake Pavilion, as we mentioned before. And Sean, I just want you to let the people know a little bit about yourself, where you are from, and we're going to talk about your story and how you got in the media and have elevated so far and have become an inspiration to so many people.
Well, I'm kind of interested in the wind down Sundays. Is it wind down like you're winding down, or is it wine like with wine?
Look, it's wind down Sundays where you're actually winding down, so it's a little bit of both.
All
But
right.
we do have one of our in the house media family members and the business partner that actually helped put that production together, Tracy Williams of Timeless Events, and they do host, do the wine, and you're out chilling on the lawn, by the lake, and they have the boats and everything. So something that we can invite you out to as well,
Yeah,
one of these days.
what's the address?
It's in
I'll
Griffin.
write it down.
Yes, and no, seriously, and I'm gonna send you a link because they have another segment also in August that I saw that you might be also interested in, and I know it's more of like that Southern soul blues and country music and classic rock. So I love all genres of music, and that's my thing. So I'm going to be there. So I'm passing the buck on. So I'll definitely give you the information.
Well,
Yes.
it depends when in August, because this year, I take a group up Kilimanjaro, which is the highest mountain in Africa, every year as a fundraiser for a cancer charity. And it all depends on when, because I'll be there July 24th to August 15th, I think.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you'll just be back on time to get caught up into speed, because that's when everything is going to start brewing anyway, right into Labor Day weekend. So
All
you're
right,
good to go.
send me an invite.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Look, your family, you're in the house all the way. And
Love it.
so with your story, let's, go back. Sean, of course, if you guys are not familiar, you have seen him. I mean, he's been on Steve Harvey. So it is a great pleasure and an honor to interview him. He's been on CNN. He's been on, to name it, let's see, CBS Evening News. He's been on Good Morning America, Fox and Friends, The Washington Post has done series, and even Sports Center. And that's just to name a few. Okay. And the reason why is because Sean's story is just one that breathes, hope and strength and having faith. And I would like to, for Sean to give us a little bit of feedback, because I've did my research and I've read about, at your early age of 13, and then again at 16, dealing with life-threatening ailments, and for you to just be able to be this man of strength and inspiring so many others. It to me, that's remarkable, and I would like for you to share your story with the viewers today as to what we're just referring to, and how you were able to train your mindset to think positive at all times.
Absolutely, and you're right. I actually I want to say I hold the pleasure. I hold the gratitude. I'm very grateful for being the only person in the world, in history, to climb Mount Everest, the highest mountain on every continent, ski to both the North and South Poles, and complete the World Championship Ironman triathlon in Hawaii.
Yes.
But I did all that after surviving 2 terminal cancers, a prognosis of 3 months to live, 14 days to live, a year-long medically induced coma. I was read my last rites, and I only have 1 functioning lung.
Yes.
But the only difference between me and anybody else is I work on this every day, and I probably have a warmer jacket than most people.
I love that. I mean, I love that. And at the age of 13, how was that for you? How did that impact you mentally? Because, as you referenced, you work on this, which is basically your mind, and the mind is definitely a powerful thing. So at the age of 13, how did you cope with, hearing that you were facing cancer, and then again at the age of 16? How was that experience for you?
Excuse me, I'm not always, and I haven't always been uplifting and smiles. Like I always have a smile on my face because I'm so fortunate to be alive. And in all honesty, it goes back to when I was 13, and I remember sitting on the edge of my bed 3 months into the first chemo, and I remember looking off to my left side where my head was, and my pillow was covered in hair. And I went to the bathroom, I looked in the mirror, and I thought maybe I could comb it over, maybe I could do something. And I remember pulling chunks out, like it would just fall out effortlessly. I didn't have to pull it; it just kind of fell out. And I later found out, years later, that my mom, she told me that she didn't want me to notice my hair was falling out. So what she did every morning when I took a shower, because it slowly started falling out.
Right.
But while I was in the shower, she would sneak into the bedroom, take the pillow out of the pillowcase, and replace it with a fresh one, so I didn't see the hair on the pillow.
Oh,
Yeah.
Amazing.
So,
support systems are the best.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I remember being that 13-year-old, I went into the shower, I turned on the water, And it really felt different this time. It didn't hit my hair and then kind of seep in and then hit my scalp, like normal. It actually was just hitting my scalp directly. So I could feel it hitting my skin. And every time I brought my hands down, they were covered in hair. And I remember at 13, I collapsed. I literally collapsed to the bottom of the shower floor. I was on my hands and knees sobbing, just absolutely weeping. I was 60 pounds overweight because of the treatments. I was on my hands and knees pulling chunks of hair out of the drain so the water could go down. It was building up in the shower, but the water wasn't going down because the hair was clogging up the drain.
Right.
So I also remember that in that moment, I started thinking about what my friends were doing when they were getting ready for school the same day. They were worried about the nicest clothes. They were worried about being popular.
Right.
They were worried about all that stuff. To me, meant nothing, because I mean, let me ask you this: how would you feel if you went to bed numerous nights, terrified to close your eyes because you didn't know if they were going to open again?
That's something I just can't even begin to imagine. That growing up with, my mom having sickle cell anemia, I could, definitely empathize and, relate to some degree, but actually being physically in your shoe, I that's why, the story itself to me is just breathtakingly amazing because of everything that you endured and still being able to put on that gorgeous smile and inspire others, teaching hope and healing, and just being the voice of reason for so many, because you do it relentlessly and you are a motivational speaker. You speak at colleges, you do forums and, an accolade of things. So just to hear that, what you had to endure, it's truly commendable.
Well, thank you, but we all have a choice. Like,
Yes.
when I was on that shower floor, I realized that I didn't want to not die. I wanted to focus on living. In anything in life, I realize now that wherever your attention is focused is what you're going to get. So I wasn't focused on not dying. I was focused on living. The same thing when I was climbing Everest. I wasn't focused on, hey, don't fall. I was focused on making it to the top.
Exactly. Look, he's like, my vision, my intentions is
it was right here.
and I'm going to summit. I love it. I definitely love it. So with all of that, how did you actually come to, going to Kilimanjaro and actually summiting Mount Everest? How did that come into play with everything that you endured with the cancer at 13 and again at 16?
Okay, so long story short, when I graduated high school, I felt like my teen years were robbed of me. I had cancer from 13 to basically 18 years old. So that's why I have this different perspective, but it's a perspective that can be taught. I went to college. I was a party animal. We'll skip over that. So then I went and I moved down to Jacksonville, Florida, where I wanted to be a psychologist for cancer patients, because as we all know, it's not an individual disease. Cancer it takes the family through it. It takes your support system. It takes the patient. Everybody goes through it together. So I wanted to help the family members as well, but I realized that I hadn't dealt with my own issues. And I couldn't help anybody else until I helped myself.
Right.
But I did realize that I had been gifted this mind-body connection where if I believe it and I see it and I feel it's going to happen, I can make it happen. So I wanted to use Everest as the highest platform in the world to give people hope, to let them know that if a 2-time cancer survivor who was once given 14 days to live can climb Everest with one lung, you can do anything.
Absolutely. Definitely. And, that, again, that goes back to your mindset. And with you saying, you train this on a daily basis, everything that we do is mental. It actually does start with you. And that's taking your power back because, the outside circumstances, it happens on a daily basis, but that doesn't, you could choose to allow it to affect you mentally and, emotionally, internally. But, if you are a strong individual and know that, you can overcome anything, which you are living proof, that's where a lot of people are lacking. And to have someone like you as a role model, as an inspirational story piece, to say, hey, if Mr. Swarner can do this, I can do it as well, especially with the traumatic stuff that you had to deal with, giving 14 days in a year-long coma, like that's a lot. And for you to be able to have that mental strength to say, hey, this circumstance does not dictate my future and how far that I can go. I can overcome, this prognosis that the doctors have given me. I'm going to make my own prognosis. I'm going to live. And you're living proof of that. You're living more than just, a healthy life. You're living. And, when I say living, you're doing everything that you take pride in doing and you enjoy doing it, especially, even with speaking and engaging with the community, because I saw that you also started your Cancer Climber Association where you actually take groups up, like you mentioned, to Kilimanjaro. So, I mean, I just, everyone needs to take your class.
I appreciate it. And one of the things that you said really struck a chord with me about taking back your power. Every year I go in for a checkup for my cancers because no one's ever had these two together. And believe it or not, the chances of me surviving both cancers was equivalent to, say, you winning the lottery 4 times in a row with the same numbers. Okay, so I'm a living, breathing, walking miracle. I really think I am.
Absolutely.
And every year I have to go in for a checkup, my blood work, maybe a CT scan, something like that. And every year when I get the clear, I see I have another year to live. That's the way I see it. And for the longest time, I would freak out every time I heard the word cancer. I would call it the C word, or I was sick. I never really talked about it. But then I realized that a 6-letter word had control over me. Hearing that word became a trigger. I was essentially giving my strength, giving my emotions to 6 letters. And then I realized at one point, like, why am I doing that? It's not the word that makes me feel that way. It's how I react to it. So as soon as I change that and realize that it's my responsibility to hold on to how I feel and not allow something else to make me feel a certain way, now I'm back in control. And I think that was one of the key takeaways that I just learned in the past maybe 10 years.
Correct. And, as you stated, what you've learned in the last 10 years, and that's what, even with my platform that I try to, convey all the time, is that even though we are here in our adult stage in life, every day is a learning experience, and we're not too old or too young to learn something new. And that's why you have the growth mindset and you have the fixed mindset. And it's very important that everyone learn to adapt that growth mindset, because without it, it leaves you feeling hopeless and not knowing which way to turn. And that's a part of taking back your power, because you could take that time to, go within and see what else is there for me to do and project that in your everyday life. And that's absolutely what you're doing. And with your books, because your books pretty much, talks about some of the things that we're mentioning right now. And, you have Keep Climbing, Everest Being Unstoppable, and of course you could get your autographed copy for $12
Right.
on your website at Swarner.com. So, I love it. And, this is something that, and a message that needs to be heard. And I'm happy that you are doing that with all that you have encountered. And I want to know about the challenge that you do. It's on your site, you talk about a challenge. If you could tell us a little bit about that.
It's actually called the big, if you just go to thebighillchallenge.com, thebighillchallenge.com. And it's essentially, it's how I've done what I've done and developed this mindset. And it starts off with developing the right mindset. Basically, whether you think you can or you can't, you're absolutely right. I bookend my days, and that's the first challenge. For the first week, you bookend your days. Going to bed, not turning on the news. Going to bed, not thinking, "Oh man, I wish I would have done that. I didn't get this accomplished. I didn't do that." Go to bed and be grateful for 5 things, and then focus on one of them and why. So
Absolutely.
Before anyone even starts, I help them discover what their personal core values are, which that's who you are at the core, right?
Yes.
And then I even take it a little step further to help people see how they're actually walking and representing those core values so they can see where they want to put more energy and attention. Then I walk them through mindfulness and then the compound effect and triggers. And through this whole process, you can literally reprogram your brain. It's not like it's 3 weeks and I'm done. No, it's 3 weeks to give you the tools to use for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And those core values are absolutely essential for the growth
Absolutely.
process. Yes. And okay, so one of the things that I saw, and I just want to reference it, and it all ties in with you, where basically it says, no challenge would ever be too great, no peak too high.
That's because limitations like fear are in the mind. If you go after something with the attitude of, "Oh, I'm going to try to do that," it's not going to happen. But if you go in with the attitude, starting at the end with an emotional attachment, knowing that you've already done it up here, nothing is going to ever get in your way. You might have some obstacles that try to slow you down, but your attachment to the end result and how much that makes you feel, you are going to push through those obstacles. So no challenges ever too high, no mountain, whatever. I forget what you said already, because I'm working on 3 hours of sleep right now.
I know.
Cool.
Exactly. And the online program, The Big Challenge, could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Big Hill Challenge. That was what we talked about, where you start off with your personal core values, and then you move forward step by step on a linear progression to help you basically find your purpose. I mean, I would say that's probably what it really boils down to, helping people find their purpose, their empowerment, and passion.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And I feel that program is going to do some amazing things and have already done so. And with this platform, Clubhouse, which is part of where we kind of bumped into each other, because we were in the room together, and it was an amazing room with an amazing platform full of people that had amazing stories. And we were even talking about the African diaspora, and with you and Kilimanjaro, and it was just breathtakingly refreshing, to hear the stories. And I believe the other gentleman also shared some similarities to yours as well, explaining that he too suffered from cancer, and he was actually, I believe, starting to climb the Mount Everest as well. And I think that's where the storylines kind of connected. And I was just like, here it is. You are an inspiration to so many people, and it's just commendable. That's layman terms, just absolutely commendable.
Well, I appreciate that, but I think more than anything, I want to help be a guide for other people so they can be the hero of their own stories, so they can be a hero for their own families, because everybody has a unique story, a unique perspective. We are all individuals, and we all see the world from a different set of eyes, which I think is one of the most beautiful things about the world. All the differences that are out there, we need to embrace those, and they're beautiful. So every single person sees the world from a different perspective. And if I can help someone elevate where they are a little bit better today than they were yesterday, then I can die a happy person.
Yes, and that's absolutely amazing with all that is going on. And your outlook on life is it's one that I want to share continuously. And with you even sharing the news of your wife having to go back home to tend to her grandmother, and you're still wearing this gorgeous smile on your face. It's like so commendable. And I just I'm floored. Put it that way. I'm absolutely floored. So tell us what else you have in store, for the Big Hill Challenge. Are you writing any new books?
I'm working on another book right now, and people usually ask me what's next, like what's the next big challenge. You mentioned my wife, and we recently got married. It's only been about 2 years. So I've been told by numerous people that marriage might be the next challenge. So hopefully she doesn't see this. But I think the next big physical challenge for me, my goal is to run 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days. And I want to take on each continent, I want to do a story on a number of cancer survivors to,
Wow.
again, help empower them.
And this project that you are putting together, is that something that we're going to see this year, the end of 2021, or are you projecting that for 2022? Or it's hard to put some things together right now.
It's difficult to tell because it all depends. I call it the vid. It all depends on what the vid's going to do. So we have to find out what COVID's going to do, because we have to look at traveling. We've worked out logistics on it, but it could be January of 2022 or January of 2023. And I'm also looking for sponsorship to make that happen too, because obviously it's a really expensive endeavor.
So viewers and our amazing media family and team out there, Sean Swarner, they are looking for sponsors for this amazing cause. So we're going to share his information. Again, it's SeanSwarner.com. And of course, all his information is there. You can reach out to him if you'd like to contribute or be a sponsor, make a donation, whatever the case may be. Of course, you can get that information from his site. And that again is Sean, SEAN, the proper way of spelling Sean, yay, Swarner. Look, I'm biased. I'm sorry. .com, and you will get all the information. And also, I mentioned getting an autographed copy of his books for only $12. That is also, the tab is there, the link on his page. So everything is easily accessible. So guys, make sure you check out SeanSwarner.com and read more into his story. You will not be disappointed. It's coming straight from his mouth as well. But of course, a lot of people like to do their own research. Please do. He's an amazing person. His story is one that needs to be told over and over again, because it's not only inspirational, it is something that helps with learning how to heal and, understanding that taking your power back is something that is achievable. When you set attainable goals, they are achievable. And, your power is something that's always achievable because it's within reach and it's within you. So that's where we are. And Sean, I want to, talk a little bit more before we let you go, just about, the books, the being Everest being unstoppable. Tell us a little bit more about that, because I saw that book received a lot of great reviews. I was doing my research.
So you've done some research.
Yes.
The book, I don't have any. Actually, I'm getting ready to send out a bunch of them here, but this is what it looks like.
Awesome.
So Everest Become Unstoppable, but it helps people with vivid visualization. And what it does is it takes people through my story, right? And buried in the stories in the book are relatable lessons that you can actually use in your own life. And at the end of it, it's like 95% story, fun, adventure, and those messages built in there. But at the end of it, there's like 5% of, hey, this is how Sean did it, and hey, this is how you can do it too. So it's almost like it's two things in one book. But it helps people with vivid visualization. It helps people with reprogramming their brain through neuroplasticity and believing things are possible. Because before you go after a goal, you have to believe it. Then you can see it.
Yes, absolutely. And it's so great that you're referencing, everything as far as, the medical terminology of things, because these are all important, aspects and pieces that link everything together. And, for people to understand that reading is fundamental, y'all, period. It really is. And what I've gained from everything, reading about you, doing my research, it all just works cohesively together as far as the message that this platform, tries to portray and, we want to convey is positive things, and knowing that you too can be successful, and we are here to uplift and build with each other. And not only that, Mr. Dorn built this platform, and it's called In the House Media for a reason. Yes, he's Jerome Dorn. Of course, the little joke is, oh, Jerome from off of Martin and Jerome in the house, but that yes, in some aspect of it, but the main reference behind is that he welcomes everyone in the house, and all he asks is for you to pay it back forward, giving a little bit of yourself, whatever it is that you have, just like the bartering system, each one teach one. We are all, learning. Growth requires you to be open to learn. And this entire setting for me is a learning experience. It's motivational. It puts a new found, understanding on strength and courage for me, because honestly, like I did a live earlier today on Instagram and one on Facebook, and I referenced, or a live interview this evening, and I was just like, Kilimanjaro, I'm like, I don't even know if I would make it halfway up. I was like, forget halfway up, a quarter way up, I'll be like, pass me the water bottle. But with you surviving cancer, not once, but twice, and with one lung, you summited multiple times, and then you're actually taking others on that same journey. And this is one that displays so much strength and humanitarianism, because you are giving back, even though you yourself had so much little to give.
Yeah, one of the things, going back to Kilimanjaro, one of the things is, like I said, I've been there. This will be my 21st summit, and I have family there. Literally, they're family. They adopted me into the Chugga tribe. They're like my brothers, and they haven't had anyone visit because they rely 100% on tour, 99.9% on tourism. And one of my friends owns a souvenir shop, and he has some artists who have paintings, and the paintings are just absolutely stellar. I should have brought one. In fact, I got these like a mask
pieces on the wall. I saw.
Yeah, so I got those at his shop.
Yeah, I've been scoping you out there in the background.
Yeah, exactly, right? So that's from his store. And because they didn't have any tourists, they couldn't feed their families. He sent me a bunch of paintings. And on SeanSwarner.com, we're actually selling these hand-painted.
Yes.
They're beautiful.
We talked about that.
Yeah, 100% of the sales goes back to them.
Yes, we actually talked about that. Right. Jerome and I can talk, discuss it with you further, because remember on Clubhouse, I did reference that we had a gentleman that we utilized for our Philly weekend, where we did the online walkthrough museum, and you were interested in that. So I did not forget. And I also want you to share with your name that the actual tribe gave you, because
So, like I said, I was adopted into the Chugga tribe, and they gave me a Swahili name, and they call me Mzungu Kicha. Which means crazy white man.
Yes, I remember that. I was just like, he was just like, yeah, I'm the crazy white man.
Yeah. So when I get there, hey, Mizuku Kacha. I was like, what's up, guys?
Right. And that's so amazing because, Dr. Dorn, he has something similar. He was actually also, adopted into a tribe, and, he's a part of that circle in Ghana. So when we spoke on Clubhouse, I was just like, look at this. This is such a small world, how everything just links automatically. And there's so much that you guys could, possibly do together when you both go back to Africa. And, the potential is limitless. For me, I just believe there's always a next level. And that's the reason why, next level promotion, there's always another level to everything that we do, especially when we keep that open and growth mindset. So, I just want to say thank you. I want to, invite Dr. Dorn back onto the platform so he too could, chime in, because when we start talking about Ghana and Africa, I know he was back there like, yes, yes, yes. I'm like, see, I told you. Absolutely. Like, it's amazing. You're still muted. Here he comes. His thing is, I can't hear you, Jerome. You're muted.
I say, okay, Sean, your story is very inspiring. I'm ready to go climb. I'm with you. Okay, so and I would love to get an opportunity to read the book. So
Yes.
you have, Michelle, you have all the information.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we'll be reaching out.
Send me an email. I'll send you a book.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
Yes, Dr. Dorn, he's actually a veteran. He served in the military here, so we take pride in our vet, and both of you, your stories are, because he's an author as well. That's the reason why I said that everything that you guys do is so inspiring, and there are a lot of similarities as to why I was like, oh, I'm drawn to him as well. So your stories, I believe there's so much more that we could do with it, especially with linking up with the
gentleman. Who's doing the movie?
Right.
Actually, you did a documentary back in 2017, and then it aired on Amazon Prime in 2018, correct?
Look at you, Miss Stalker. You You know everything.
Look, she be in it, Sean. She be in it. I'm telling you.
Look, you have to know your people, right? If you're going to do something, you have to make sure you know a little bit about the person, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And that's why I said it's an amazing story. I just don't say things to say it. If I'm feeling something heartfelt, it's because I've done my groundwork and I connected with it. For me to share a story, I have to have some kind of connection there. And you called me on day one when you said hello on Clubhouse and said, I only had one lung and I climbed. I said, you did what? You did, say that again. So, it was family since then.
Yeah, there's people out there with both lungs can't make it. Exactly. Yeah, I'll wait for you, Sean. I'll try, but I'll probably wait for you down at the bottom, okay?
That would be me.
We do a 7-day trip up and down the mountain, and then we do a 4-day safari. You guys can join the safari.
Oh, okay. Really? Yeah. That's awesome. I would definitely love to do that, especially once everything fully opens back up. That is something that I believe In the House Media would love to actually have footage of. That would be amazing.
That's beautiful. Yeah, the people, the culture, it's unbelievable. It really is. It's life-changing.
Yes.
I know those experiences, Sean, and when you're doing it, you really don't realize the scope of what you've done until afterwards. And I know now you sit back and you just look and say, wow, it was a meaning for all that to happen.
Yeah. Yes,
absolutely.
You have a great testimony there, and hopefully it was someone, and I'm not going to say hopefully, I know without a doubt that someone is going to be inspired.
Oh, yes. Many, because he does this. He's a performance coach, motivational speaker. He actually was voted one of the top 8 most inspirational people of all time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I know him. That's where I know him from.
I'm curious. Tell me something I don't know about myself. You probably know something that I don't know.
Wow.
Listen, I mean, I love your story because honestly, how many people do you hear? For example, I was connected to the story because, and I definitely could empathize because, for one, I lost my two of my aunts and my uncle to cancer. You know, one breast cancer, one pancreatic, and the other, you know, anyway.
Well, do me a favor. Send me their names, because every year going up Kilimanjaro, we take, and I'm not going crazy. I don't have a twitch. I'm looking for something. Every year, there we go. Every year we go up Kilimanjaro. It's a fundraiser, like I said, for a cancer charity. And what we do is we add names of people who've been touched by cancer on a flag that we take to the top of.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Oh, that's awesome. See, I didn't know that part. See, there was something I didn't know.
well, you didn't do your good enough research.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that was a part of the Cancer Climber Association. Is that? Yeah. Okay.
So we add names of people touched by cancer on here, and we always leave it at the top. And every year we actually pay for a survivor to go for free, and then the survivor is responsible for raising funds for next year's survivor.
That's
and when we and then when we go to the top, the survivor carries this flag and carries everybody who's been touched by cancer to the roof of Africa, essentially.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. What I'm going to do, my cousin, actually, Richard Murray, he's very well known because he's in the financial market. He was at Goldman Sachs, and now he works with Bernstein and Epps. And he actually did a fundraiser for my aunt, which is his mother and my mom, because she took me on after my mom passed from sickle cell anemia. And, you know, she's the one that passed away from pancreatic cancer. And he did a huge fundraiser where he did a boxing thing in New York City. And it raised quite a bit of funds. And it's something that he has still ongoing. There's a huge write-up about it in the New York Times as well. And what I would love to do is actually get you guys connected, because it's something that's, you know, near and dear to his heart also, especially when it comes to the sponsorship aspect. I think, you know, Bernstein and Epps is a great company to have as a sponsor. And, you know, I'll definitely connect you guys there. And of course, you know, Next Level Promotion is on board with anything, and I'm quite sure I can speak for Mr. Dorn as well, that he's definitely on board with, you know, whatever it is or whatever it takes to, you know, get this out there even more than it is. You know, I know you've had great coverage, you know, from Steve Harvey, CBS, and it's just a pleasure, you know, having you and you gracing our platform.
Definitely.
It's just how humble you are as a person, and that, you know, your story, you just want it to be heard and shared with everyone that can actually listen, get some healing or inspiration from it.
Exactly. And as long as he doesn't invite me to box, I'll get in touch with him and right.
Okay.
That absolutely, I love it. So Sean, you know, it's been a pleasure. And again, if you'd like to, you know, let our viewers know, other than the SeanSwarner.com, where else they can contact you. I know you have Instagram. I'm not sure, you know, if you want to share your Facebook information. It's totally up to you. I know he has his private page as well as his main Facebook page is Sean Swarner as well. So, you know, and on Instagram it's also Sean Swarner, and he is very receptive and a humble soul, you know, even though he has his blue check and he's someone that is well known, as you can see, a very humble person and just willing to give back. And that's what this platform is about. And we so appreciate you, Sean, for your time.
Well, I'm very humbled by that. I'm very grateful, and I want to give you a virtual hug, but we'll do that in August.
Absolutely. I'm just grateful to have you aboard, and, you know, keep in touch. Let us know what we can do. If you have things going on in the States, let us know, because we will definitely come out. It's for a great cause, and that's what we're about, to showcase and uplift with everyone. Each one teach one.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you both. It's very grateful.
Absolutely.
Our pleasure. So with that, we'll be signing out. Thank everyone for listening and tuning in. And Sean, we'll see you on the next one.